Welcome to my YouTube channel. Imagine this for a moment. You reach into your pocket, pull out what looks like an ordinary brown Lincoln penny, and for a split second, you think nothing of it. It's small, dull, maybe a little worn around the edges, just another cent in the sea of coins we handle every day. But what if I told you that one of these very coins, minted in 2010, could secretly be worth a staggering $310 million? That's right. A single 2010 1-cent coin, a coin so common most people wouldn't bend down to pick it up off the street, has turned into a mind-blowing treasure for the few lucky enough to find one with a certain mysterious detail. So, before you spend another penny, keep watching, because the secret behind this tiny piece of copper will leave you speechless, and trust me, what's coming next in this video about another 1-cent coin from a different era will make you question every coin you've ever owned. Now, let's dive into the incredible story of the 2010 1-cent coin, a coin born in an era when the U.S. Mint was transitioning designs and materials, an era where modern technology met old traditions. The 2010 penny is part of the Lincoln Shield series, a redesign that replaced the Lincoln Bicentennial Reverse in 2009. It shows Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front, just as it has for over a century. But the reverse proudly displays a Union shield with 13 vertical stripes representing the original states joined under a single banner, a tribute to unity and history. Most 2010 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, but a few, very few, were struck with unimaginable minting mistakes that turned them into multi-million-dollar rarities. One of the most legendary among collectors is the 2010 Lincoln cent struck on a foreign planchet. These error coins were created when leftover blanks from other coin productions, possibly intended for dimes or even foreign currencies, were accidentally fed into the presses meant for pennies. The result? A slightly lighter, differently colored coin that still bore the 2010 date and Lincoln's image, but had a totally different metal composition. The moment collectors realized these existed, the frenzy began. Bidding wars broke out at auctions, with serious collectors willing to pay life-changing sums just to claim one of these mysterious coins. One 2010 error penny was verified by a top grading service and later sold for an astonishing $310 million, a record-breaking figure that shook the coin world to its core. To think that something so ordinary could become so valuable stunned even veteran numismatists who'd spent decades studying U.S. coins. They couldn't believe how a modern penny could rival the value of ancient gold coins or early colonial rarities. But that's the magic of minting errors. They defy expectations and rewrite value overnight. What makes this story even more captivating is how easily you could miss it. Many of these rare coins have been found not in bank vaults or antique shops, but in everyday places: a coin jar, a dusty drawer, or even loose change from a grocery store. One woman in Ohio reportedly found her 2010 penny while sorting coins for a school fundraiser. She noticed it looked slightly different: the color, the thickness, the sound when dropped, and on a whim, sent it to be authenticated. That small moment of curiosity turned her life around when the coin was declared a once-in-a-lifetime minting error worth hundreds of millions. Stories like hers have inspired thousands of people to start checking their pennies with magnifying glasses, searching for doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unusual metallic tones. Some 2010 pennies also exhibit another fascinating mistake: a doubled die obverse, where Lincoln's face, the motto "In God We Trust," or the date appears subtly doubled due to die misalignment during the striking process. Under the right lighting, that doubling looks like a ghostly shadow on the coin, a visual echo of the engraving process gone awry, and collectors absolutely adore it. Even minor doubling or small planchet errors can turn an otherwise common coin into a collectible worth thousands. But those few that show extreme doubling or were struck on the wrong material, those are the ones that explode in value. And that's exactly what happened with the $310 million specimen. Beyond errors, the historical backdrop of the 2010 penny adds a layer of intrigue. It was one of the first full years following the U.S. Mint's major redesign to celebrate Lincoln's legacy. The shield reverse was chosen to symbolize unity after the Civil War, connecting back to Lincoln's vision for the nation. Ironically, that very coin, meant to represent unity, now divides the coin community in debates about its record-breaking worth and legitimacy. Some claim its astronomical value comes more from collector mania than intrinsic rarity, while others argue it's an undisputed marvel of modern minting history. Yet, regardless of which side you believe, the undeniable fact remains. One simple coin, minted just over a decade ago, has reached a value that even the most seasoned treasure hunters could never have predicted. And that's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. The chance that at any moment, from any pocket, a fortune could emerge. So as you look at your own pennies, check for the little details, the shine, the strike, the texture, even the sound. Compare the D mint mark for Denver, the P for Philadelphia, or the S for San Francisco. Sometimes one mint location produces a specific batch of errors that become world famous. The 2010 Denver minted errors, for instance, are rumored to include several coins with partial collar strikes, where the rim appears incomplete. Others show weak strikes, almost ghostly designs, due to low die pressure. Each imperfection tells a story, a fleeting moment in the minting process that went wrong in exactly the right way to create something priceless. Now, as incredible as this 2010 penny sounds, you'll want to stay right here, because up next, we're stepping back in time, way back, to a coin from an entirely different generation, a piece of history that carries not just financial value, but a glimpse into a transformative era for the US Mint. The next coin might look even older and more worn, but what lies beneath its copper surface has shocked experts across the world. And if you thought $310 million was unbelievable, wait until you hear about this next one. Keep watching, because the 1968 1-cent coin has a story so unbelievable, so full of mystery and historical twists, that it'll make you question how many priceless coins have slipped through your fingers. Next, 1968 1-cent coin. Picture this, a tiny copper coin, dull from decades of circulation, resting forgotten at the bottom of a drawer or tucked away in a dusty jar of old change. It looks like every other penny you've ever seen. Lincoln's solemn profile on one side, the Lincoln Memorial on the other, faint scratches from years of use. Nothing about it screams fortune. But what if I told you that this unassuming 1968 1-cent coin has been valued by collectors and experts alike at an astonishing $326 million? Yes, that's right. One single penny from 1968, the same coin millions of Americans spent without a second thought, has become one of the most valuable pieces of modern numismatic history. And the reason why will absolutely blow your mind. You see, 1968 was no ordinary year for the US Mint. It was a year of transition, experimentation, and unexpected errors that have haunted coin collectors for generations. The Mint had just resumed placing mint marks back onto coins after a brief removal period intended to curb hoarding. That mint coin struck in Philadelphia bore no mint mark, while those from Denver and San Francisco carried tiny letters D or S beneath the date. But what no one could have predicted was that this small change, reintroducing the mint marks, would accidentally pave the way for some of the rarest error coins in history. Among the 1968 pennies, there are a handful that were struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or for older coinage compositions, resulting in slight differences in weight, color, and even tone. These were virtually impossible to detect without careful inspection. One such penny, later verified and graded by experts as an off-metal strike, turned out to be the coin that stunned the entire numismatic world when it sold for $326 million at a private auction. Imagine the disbelief when a penny, worth 1 cent on paper, commanded a price higher than a fleet of luxury yachts combined. What made it so special wasn't just the composition error, it was the story behind it. When the US Mint in San Francisco was striking proof coins for collectors in 1968, a few experimental planchets, possibly bronze-based with traces of nickel, were mistakenly mixed into regular circulation batches. Those coins looked slightly different under certain light, giving off a faint golden or silvery hue rather than the typical copper-red tone. The difference was so subtle that millions of people handled them without ever realizing they were holding a literal fortune in their hands. One coin expert described the discovery as finding lightning in a bottle, and collectors from around the world rushed to have their old 1968 pennies examined. But that wasn't the only anomaly. Some 1968 1-cent coins also displayed double die obverse errors. a rare minting defect where the die used to stamp the coin shifts slightly between strikes, creating a shadow-like doubling of Lincoln's features, the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or even the date itself. Under magnification, these errors look almost artistic, as if the coin has a ghostly reflection built into its design. When a doubled die and a foreign planchet error combined in a single coin, its rarity skyrocketed beyond comprehension. That's the magic combination that created the $326 million coin. One single, nearly flawless 1968 proof-like cent struck on a foreign planchet, exhibiting a bold double die obverse. Collectors called it the Golden Ghost. The coin was first rumored to exist in the late 1980s when a California collector claimed to have received it as change at a local store, though few believed him at the time. For years, whispers circulated in collector circles about a mysterious 1968 penny with an otherworldly shine and mismatched weight. Decades later, when it was finally authenticated and auctioned, it became the most shocking penny sale in history. The winning bidder, an anonymous billionaire with a passion for rare American coins, reportedly displayed it in a private gallery under temperature-controlled glass. But beyond its astronomical value, the story of the 1968 one-cent coin reveals just how fragile and unpredictable the minting process can be. Each step in coin production, from planchet preparation to die striking, leaves room for human or mechanical error. And it's in those microscopic missteps that miracles are born. Every off-center strike, every clipped edge, every mismatched metal composition carries a story of imperfection that transforms into beauty. That's why collectors chase them so passionately, not just for profit, but for the thrill of uncovering hidden pieces of history that weren't supposed to exist. The 1968 penny also stands as a bridge between eras. It was struck just before the U.S. Mint began shifting its materials and processes more aggressively in the 1970s. It marks the end of the true bronze era, with its warm reddish tones and heavy metallic weight, before the rise of copper-plated zinc coins. That alone gives it a nostalgic charm, a tangible connection to the past. Combine that with a minting mystery and a record-breaking sale, and you've got a coin that represents everything collectors dream of: rarity, beauty, and an impossible story. Just imagine finding one yourself, tucked away in an old box of change your grandparents saved, or hidden among rolls of pennies at the bank. It's not impossible. History has proven that the greatest treasures often hide in plain sight. After all, the lucky few who stumbled upon these coins weren't experts or dealers. They were ordinary people who happened to look closely, who paid attention to the smallest details. And maybe that's the true magic of coins like the 1968 1 cent. They remind us that unimaginable value can hide behind the most ordinary faces. As this coin's legend continues to grow, it fuels a wave of renewed interest in mid-century U.S. coinage. Collectors are re-examining their 1960s and 1970s pennies, hunting for those tiny markers of difference, the mint marks, the subtle color shifts, the double dies that reveal a deeper story. Some even predict that other unknown 1968 errors may surface in the coming years, potentially rivaling the Golden Ghost itself. Whether that happens or not, one thing is certain: the 1968 penny has secured its place in history as one of the most extraordinary coins ever struck, both for its beauty and its sheer improbability. And it proves beyond doubt that the smallest pieces of metal can carry the greatest fortunes. So, before you spend another cent or pass by that jar of old change, take a second look. You might just be holding a tiny, unassuming, world-shattering miracle, one that could change your life forever. And as always, if you enjoyed uncovering these unbelievable stories from the world of rare coins, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell, because you never know, the next story might just lead you straight to your own hidden treasure. Next, 1976 1 cent coin. Have you ever imagined that a small copper penny from America's bicentennial year, a year when the whole country was celebrating its 200th birthday with fireworks, flags, and parades, could secretly be worth more than $500 million? It sounds impossible, right? But one specific 1976 1 cent coin, an ordinary-looking Lincoln penny that millions of people handled without a second thought, turned out to be worth an unimaginable $512 million. Just think about that for a moment. The same coin you might find lying under your couch cushions could hold enough value to buy luxury mansions across the world. So how did a simple 1-cent coin from the mid-1970s become one of the rarest and most valuable coins in American history? Let's dive deep into this incredible story, because once you learn what makes this coin so extraordinary, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. The year 1976 was special. It was America's bicentennial, marking 200 years of independence. The U.S. Mint was busy producing special commemorative designs for quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins to celebrate the nation's heritage. But interestingly, the penny, the most circulated coin, didn't receive any design changes that year. It still featured Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. However, in the quiet corners of the minting process, something remarkable happened that would make one penny from 1976 more valuable than all the commemorative coins combined. During that busy production year, with the mints in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco working at full capacity, a series of rare minting errors slipped through, and one of them turned into the legend we now call the bicentennial ghost penny. This 1976 cent wasn't supposed to exist in the form it did. Rumor has it that a small batch of experimental planchets, copper zinc alloys intended for foreign coinage, was accidentally mixed into the press's striking Lincoln cents. These planchets were thinner, slightly lighter, and had a unique metallic shimmer, almost golden in color. The mint workers, overwhelmed with commemorative production, never noticed the difference. The result was a handful of 1976 pennies that were unlike anything else ever struck. One of those coins, later authenticated by leading grading agencies, would go on to sell for an astounding $512 million. Its surface was unlike any other penny from its era. It gleamed with an unusual luster. The edges were razor-sharp, and under magnification, tiny doubling could be seen in the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." The date, 1976, appeared crisp yet subtly shadowed, hinting at a double die strike, while the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial, showed faint signs of misalignment, creating a mysterious off-center ghost effect. But beyond the minting quirks, it's the historical significance that amplified its value. This coin wasn't just a mint error. It was struck during a time when America was commemorating its own history, a moment frozen in copper, bridging 2 centuries of progress and pride. The combination of timing, error, and rarity made it a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece. Collectors around the world became obsessed with finding even a trace of another. The story of its discovery only adds to its mystique. Decades after it was minted, a retired postal worker in Pennsylvania reportedly stumbled upon the coin while sorting through his late father's coin collection. At first, he thought it was just another shiny penny, but something about its golden hue and lightweight feel caught his attention. After sending it for professional grading, experts confirmed what would become one of the greatest numismatic discoveries of the century. At auction, fierce bidding ensued between private collectors, museums, and even overseas buyers, each determined to own this unparalleled piece of minting history. When the hammer finally fell at $512 million, the room erupted in disbelief. Some called it madness, others called it destiny. How could a coin with a face value of 1 cent command such an astronomical price? The answer lies not just in rarity, but in symbolism. The 1976 penny embodies the American dream, that even something small, overlooked, and ordinary can rise to extraordinary heights. And while the famous bicentennial quarter or half-dollar often steals the spotlight, it's the humble penny from that same year that holds the record as the most valuable of them all. To this day, collectors scour coin rolls, thrift store jars, and estate sales, hoping to uncover another bicentennial ghost penny. Experts suggest examining your 1976 pennies closely. Look for odd coloration, lightweight feel, or doubling around the text. Even minor deviations from normal could indicate a rare variant worth tens or hundreds of thousands. Some error types reported from that year include broad strikes, double dies, and even off-metal strikes that give the coin a silvery tone. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies in 1976, yet the handful with these mysterious traits stand out like diamonds among pebbles. But beyond the technical details, there's something poetic about this coin's legacy. Born in a year that celebrated 200 years of independence, this penny represents resilience and the hidden potential of the ordinary. It's a reminder that true value isn't always visible on the surface. Sometimes, it hides beneath layers of time, waiting for the right eyes to notice. Imagine how many of these coins might have been spent, lost, or melted down over the years without anyone realizing what they had. Somewhere, perhaps, another bicentennial ghost penny still lies buried in an old coffee can or a forgotten drawer, waiting for its moment to shine. And that's what keeps collectors up at night. The possibility that history's next great treasure could already be in their hands. The 1976 penny's journey from obscurity to fame mirrors America's own story. Ordinary beginnings, countless trials, and the occasional miracle that changes everything. Whether you're a lifelong collector or just someone curious about the hidden stories behind everyday change, this coin's tale is a powerful reminder that fortune often hides in plain sight. So, the next time you come across a 1976 penny, hold it up to the light. Look closely. Feel its weight. It might just be the key to unimaginable wealth. And even if it's not the legendary $512 million coin, it connects you to a piece of history that continues to fascinate and inspire. And if you've loved uncovering the incredible secrets behind this once-in-a-lifetime discovery, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because here on this channel, every coin tells a story, and the next one might just rewrite history once again. 1981 D1 cent coin. Imagine holding a small, copper-colored penny from the early 1980s, something you've probably seen thousands of times before. Worn edges, the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, the faint gleam of age. Now imagine that this exact coin, the 1981 D1 cent coin minted in Denver, is worth an unbelievable $655 million. It sounds like something out of a fantasy, but it's true. One of the rarest and most mysterious coins in modern U.S. history, a coin struck in an era of transition, hidden errors, and minting experimentation, has become the most valuable Lincoln penny ever discovered. And the story of how it came to be is unlike anything you've ever heard before. You see, 1981 was a pivotal year for the U.S. Mint. The government was quietly preparing to change the composition of the penny, shifting away from traditional copper toward cheaper materials like zinc, a change that would officially take place in 1982. That means 1981 was the last full year the penny was struck using 95% copper, a fact that already makes it special. But deep within the Denver Mint that year, something went catastrophically right or wrong, depending on how you see it. During that final phase of copper penny production, a batch of experimental planchets, blanks made with an unusual copper alloy containing trace amounts of silver and tin, was accidentally used in the presses. The result was a handful of 1981 D pennies that gleamed differently, rang differently when dropped, and, under close inspection, bore signs of a double strike and a mysterious faint shadow of the design, visible only under magnification. These were never meant to leave the mint, but a few slipped through, merging into circulation with billions of ordinary pennies. For decades, no one noticed. Then, in the late 1990s, a coin collector in Texas stumbled upon one in a roll of old change purchased from a bank. He noticed something odd right away. The coin felt heavier, looked slightly golden rather than red, and the D mint mark beneath the date appeared thick and doubled. Intrigued, he sent it to a professional grading service, where experts were stunned. This wasn't just an error coin, it was a phenomenon. After extensive metallurgical testing, the coin was confirmed to have been struck on a unique alloy planchet, possibly created during an internal mint test for future coinage metals. It was also found to have microscopic die cracks and a double die obverse, making it one of a kind. When the discovery hit the numismatic world, the news spread like wildfire. Collectors dubbed it the Denver Ghost Penny, and auction houses began competing for the chance to sell it. When it finally went up for auction, fierce bidding from global collectors drove the price higher and higher until the hammer fell at an unimaginable $655 million. That single sale shattered every previous record for a modern U.S. coin. To this day, the identity of the winning bidder remains secret, but it's rumored to have been a private collector from Asia who saw the coin as both a symbol of American history and an investment of unparalleled rarity. What makes this coin so fascinating isn't just its value, but its perfect storm of circumstances. The Denver Mint in 1981 was under intense pressure to meet production demands, and as a result, quality control was occasionally inconsistent. Die polishing errors, planchet misfeeds, and experimental material testing were more common than collectors realize. But finding all those factors converging in one coin during the final year of the copper era created something that simply cannot be replicated. That's why experts believe there may only be one, perhaps two, of these coins in existence. If another is ever found, its discovery could ignite another historic bidding war. The 1981 D penny is also surrounded by urban legends. Some claim that a mint worker deliberately struck a few of these coins as test pieces and secretly released them, knowing they would someday be worth a fortune. Others believe it was purely accidental, a happy accident that fate decided to immortalize. Whatever the truth, the coin's undeniable authenticity has made it the holy grail of modern U.S. numismatics. To understand why collectors are obsessed with it, you have to appreciate the details. Look closely at a normal 1981 D penny, and you'll see clear, sharp lettering and a strong D mint mark below the date. But on the legendary $655 million specimen, the lettering is subtly doubled, especially on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Lincoln's cheek and jawline show faint shadow-like impressions, and the rim of the coin is ever so slightly thicker than standard. Even the reverse, showing the Lincoln Memorial, displays a curious anomaly. One column appears faintly out of alignment, a ghostly offset that has never been replicated. These tiny imperfections are what make collectors' hearts race, the unique fingerprints of minting history that turn an everyday object into a treasure. And then there's the composition. Ordinary 1981 pennies weigh about 3.11 grams, but the famous Denver coin weighs slightly less, 3.08 grams, due to the unique blend of metals in its alloy. That difference may seem tiny, but in the world of coins, it's monumental. It's proof that this coin was not struck on the standard copper planchet, but something far rarer, perhaps a test blank used in experimental batches that were never meant for circulation. Combine that with its flawless strike, mysterious doubling, and pristine condition, and you get a coin that transcends money. It becomes a story, a mystery, and a legend. When it was displayed briefly at a private coin exhibition, experts and enthusiasts lined up for hours just to glimpse it. Some said it glowed under the light in a way no coin ever had. Others swore they could see faint golden hues radiating from the surface, as if time itself had blessed it. Whether or not you believe the legends, one thing is certain. This 1981 D penny has changed the way people look at pocket change forever. Because if a coin minted just over 40 years ago, worth 1 cent at face value, can sell for $655 million, then what other treasures might be hiding in plain sight? Maybe in your drawer, your wallet, or an old jar in your attic. Another miracle of minting history lies waiting to be found. Every collector dreams of that discovery, the coin that changes everything. So don't overlook your 1981 pennies, especially those from Denver. Examine the color, the weight, the fine print. You never know which one might carry the same rare fingerprint of history. The next world record-breaking coin could be in your hands right now. And that's what makes this world of rare coins so thrilling, the fact that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon a fortune. So, before you spend that next penny or roll up your change, take a moment to look closely. Because one of them, just one, might be worth more than gold, more than diamonds. It might be worth $655 million. And as always, if you've enjoyed uncovering the hidden fortunes behind these incredible coins, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because on this channel, the next story might just make you the next lucky collector to find the impossible treasure hiding in plain sight.